This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. Kari Lake running for Senate in Arizona. It's like that cartoon dog that keeps trying to chase and catch the car and never can. So while she's trying to run for Senate now, remember, not so long ago, she tried unsuccessfully and lost by 17,000 votes when she ran against Governor Hobbs to try to be the governor of Arizona. But she didn't like that, and just like her cult leader, Donald Trump, she decided to use the court system, making allegations falsely about election fraud in Maricopa County in order to try to overturn the results of the election. In fact, over the summer and before that, she tried to make new challenges in a trial court setting to argue that there were ballot printing problems in Maricopa County. Different sized ballots were printed. No proof of that. That there was signature verification protocol problems in Maricopa County. And that if she had just won Maricopa County with all of these false and fraudulent votes in her own imagination, she'd be the governor. And she wanted the trial court level, to do one of two things. Listen to this one. Lean in closely. Either just declare her governor. Even though Governor Hobbs was inaugurated into the office, just reverse it, take away and disenfranchise the rights of all the Arizona voters who didn't want Kari Lake to be their governor, and install her in the governorship or in the governor's mansion. Or let's just have a new election. When she didn't like the results of two separate trials that found that none of her evidence made any sense, that none of it supported overturning the election, that there wasn't any outcome determinative fraud that she could point to in Maricopa County, let alone anywhere else in the state, she didn't like that. So every time she doesn't like when a trial court does something, she tries to go to the Arizona Supreme Court to get them to make a ruling in her favor, skipping the court in the middle. See, in Arizona, as in most states, there's an intermediary appellate court. You start at the trial level. Usually that's called the Superior Court. In New York, it's called the Supreme Court. That's the trial level. Then there's usually some sort of appellate level, Court of Appeals or appellate division, whatever you want to call it, some sort of circuit in there. And then if you lose, you go to the highest court in every state, which in most states is the Supreme Court of that state, Supreme Court of Arizona. So she wants to skip the court in the middle because she doesn't get good results and take these emergency appeals to the Arizona Supreme Court. And today, as always, for the second time in the last 5 months, the Arizona Supreme Court rejected Kari Lake's attempts to skip steps and make an emergency appeal directly to them. Their comment was, there's no extraordinary extenuating circumstances that would take the case, which is currently fully briefed at the intermediary appellate level, and take it away from them. We'll reserve the Supreme Court for really important things like merit-based appeals that can go from this intermediary court to the Supreme Court. Kari Lake never likes this stuff. She's always announcing on social media or in her filings breathlessly that there is new evidence of fraud in Maricopa County that would have given me the 17,001 votes. I'd be governor if it wasn't for that. And then nothing. It just disappears. But they keep telling it. They just recycle endlessly, meritlessly, vexatiously, repeatedly, the same arguments. They just take the brief from July in which they argue there's new evidence. And let me just, word to the wise, appellate courts, especially the highest court of a state, is not the place to bring up new evidence. They don't do new evidence, as we like to say in the law. The trial level courts do evidence. The trial court does evidence. The appellate court does a cold record developed below of facts and law and documents. You don't try a case at the Supreme Court level of your state unless it's the unique circumstance where the Supreme Court of that state has original jurisdiction to serve as a trial court for some very narrow type issues. 99% of what appellate courts do is take cases from the trial court level where the facts have been developed below, and then on a basis of law, decide whether on the standards to be applied, that judge was right or wrong, thumbs up or thumbs down, was there reversible error. You don't say, oh, I got another thing in my pocket here. Got a few more arguments, Judge. I want to raise it with you, the Supreme Court of Arizona. So now 2 different superior courts, trial court levels of Arizona have rejected any attempt for her to try to introduce new evidence or that the new evidence had any merit. The Court of Appeals, which is the intermediary court, is about to do the same thing, and she doesn't like any of that, so she's a Hail Mary pass Arizona Supreme Court. Bravo to the Arizona Supreme Court and the judge there for writing once and for all, no, we are not going to allow you. And let me read you very succinctly, because there's only a couple of pages. We'll put it up on the screen. In what was ruled. And this is from Justice Bill Montgomery. And here's what he wrote in his ruling, which again is 1 page long. He said on the 14th, Lake filed a second petition to transfer her appeal on this matter to this court. Maricopa County filed a response. And then he walked through the procedural issues. It is ordered denying the motion to leave to file a reply. The request for sanctions in the reply is therefore moot. It is further ordered denying the petition for transfer. The court found that appellant Lake does not show good cause for transferring the appeal from the Court of Appeals, where the matter has been fully briefed, and upon consideration of the court en banc, meaning the entirety of the Arizona Supreme Court, not just 3 judges, the entire bench shot her down. Now look, like I said, she's like that cartoon dog trying to chase the car. She's running for Senate. Let's hope the people of Arizona can see through Kari Lake's BS and her lying and her manipulating and her being dishonest with the voters of Arizona about her chances of success and what she wants to accomplish. I've heard from people in Arizona and from reporting that she's trying to be the new and improved Kari Lake. She doesn't really mention Trump that much. She doesn't do the MAGA QAnon thing that much. She just tries to act like, I'm just Kari Lake, new and improved, Kari Lake Plus, like a streaming service. Don't be fooled. This is the same Kari Lake that Donald Trump is considered to be a running mate, because she's got the bona fides that Donald Trump knows and loves. She's a Trumper through and through. She's a MAGA through and through. And she's continuing to prosecute appeals like this one, in which it shows that the Empress has no clothes, right? That she doesn't think the rules apply to her. She thinks social media posting about fake information, about fraud, is the same thing about proving your case in a court of law with real evidence. And that's the problem. So to the people of Arizona, you have a choice. You chose Governor Hobbs over her by a lot, not a little. She's running for Senate. I don't even know who her opponent is. Exactly. Whoever it is, it's somebody not named Kari Lake. That's good enough for me. So think hard about your choices. They are important. As I said today on Legal AF, it's not just about Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. Forget the names, strip the names away, strip the people away, strip the concept of a human being on top of the party away. Look at the values, the morality of the party's vision for America, what it's done for America, democracy and patriotism. And if the Democratic line lines up with your morality, your politics, your values, you vote Democrat. Doesn't matter who's at the top of the ticket. That's your president. And if on the other side, if your values, your morals, your ethics, your character, how you see the future of this country lines up with the other guy, then vote red. Vote R. It's okay. But don't think it doesn't matter. It matters to the judiciary. It matters to the law that's being passed. It matters to women's rights, the rights of the disenfranchised, the rights of black and brown people in America, the rights of the progressives, the rights of people who care deeply as patriots about this democracy and aren't sure the democracy in our constitutional republic can survive a restoration of the Trump presidency and people like Kari Lake following along on his coattails into the Senate. So we'll continue to report on everything that happens at the intersection of law, politics, and justice, just like Kari Lake trying to skip steps and leave out evidence that doesn't support her position as she tries to overturn the results of the people, the will of the people, and disenfranchise them in Arizona, the people she's allegedly is campaigning to represent again as a U.S. Senator. Only on the MeidasTouch Network. Only on this YouTube channel. Free subscribe to the MeidasTouch Network. Help them get to 2 million. Watch our podcast, Legal AF, It is what you think. It's on Wednesday nights and Saturday nights at 8 p.m. only on the MeidasTouch Network. It's free. And then we take that video and we put it on audio platforms wherever you get your audio podcast from. If you like this kind of content, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a message. When I mean leave me a message, I mean, leave me a comment. Sorry about that. And then until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.